Hi, welcome to another edition of our Beginner's Guide to Web Development. I'm your teacher, Samad Kenton. In the last tutorial, we looked at how to design this sign-up form, store users data on our local storage variable, and displayed it beautifully beneath this my info tag here. Is that okay? So I've received a lot of comments coming from you guys about how to store multiple users and as well retrieve that information and display them onto the user's web page. So what we want to do here is when you sign up, you are going to see your data plus other users' data. Is that okay? That is people that have used your browser. Is that okay? Why am I saying people that have used your browser? Is because we are not writing to what? A server. It is just your browser. Local storage persists within your browser. So if another computer is connected to this computer and I happen to access that same application, fill in my data, you will not be able to see my data. Likewise, vice versa. Why? Because we are not storing it into a central location, which is a database server. We are just storing it onto our client, that is our browser that is seated, placed in front of you. You should get this right. Okay, so I'm going to open our code for this sign up form. And let me just demonstrate this. For those who are just joining this tutorial, I'm going to fill in my name, Samad, and then the last name, Canton, and my email, ccanton404@gmail.com. Right? If I can spell Gmail right. Okay. Then my password say 123456. Then I'm going to hit sign up. You can see my data is here. So the next time, let's say another user signs up, say Kait, and maybe same last name and email, say Kait at Yahoo, and then the password, let's say 54321. He hits sign up. You can see the data gets overwritten. This is not what we want. What we want is if I sign up, Kai signs up, a third party signs up, anyone signs up using the same computer, we want to be able to hold that data and display all four or more, let me just say more than one user's data here. How do we achieve this? We are going to modify the code. Is that okay? So let's jump onto our Visual Studio text editor. Okay, so fine. Let's say here this is the form. It has been collapsed. So you can pick up the code from my GitHub repo. The link is on the description below this video and as well as the previous video. So if you missed out, you can get it from the previous video or this video. I'm going to collapse this here so that we can have more view to type in our code. So I'm just going to now, the layout for the table is going to be different. Now we are going to have a set of columns aligned horizontally, and then our data or record sets are going to be appended below. So if you have 100 records, they are going to be appended on each respective column or field. So inside this our output tag, we are going to define our table here. We need a table header, right? A table header takes in table row, and a row of t head, right? So we need a first name. Yeah, sorry, should be coming. Okay. Then we need a last name. We also need email address, right? And then the last one should be our PWD. So we're going to spell that in full password. Then we also need the T-body. The T-body is where the data is going to be appended to. So let me move this comment here inside this, right? Good. So now I'm going to take off these elements. We do not need them anymore, right? We're going to see in a bit how our display is going to look like. Good. Now we are having this because we are not seeing our table headers, right? Or columns, because we have selected in the previous video, we just appended everything onto a div. Is that okay? Now we are going to append everything. So we are going to, our selector now is going to be the T body. So I'm going to change this output here to T, sorry, body. And since it is not having an ID, we've not given it an ID, what should we do? We have to utilize the query selector method. Is okay. So I'm going to change this get element by ID to get query selector, So this basically allows us to select a particular node within our DOM tree or document markup. We need a T row, right? So I'm going to enclose everything in a T row. T row here means table row. Okay, so let's see. Our data, is it empty? Fine. Let me just do a hot reload. Okay, so let's see our form data. Do we have any data inside? It's null, so we don't have anything inside. Now we are going to change this our form data variable into an array. So how do we achieve this? We just denote it by a pair of square brackets. This here. So this makes a variable or assigns an empty array to this variable. So this assigns empty array to this variable. Now I'm going to push our form data value. Is that okay? How do we do that? We will now call the form data variable dot push method of our array methods. We have a couple of them. Is that okay? But the dot push allows us to append or add up to our existing array. So I'm going to add up this here. So what this does is it is just going to first of all assign an empty array, and whatever gets signed up from this form, it is going to get appended to this form data variable. So before that, we do not always want to assign an empty array to our form data variable. Instead, we want to first of all check our local storage. So we can use the JSON dot parse method. Is that okay? So local storage dot get item form data else we assign an empty array. So this expression here means is when this evaluates true, we are going to assign it to form data. Otherwise, assign this empty array to our form data. Is that okay? So this is one of two ways. Either this or we provide a default, which is our default is always going to be an empty array. So good. Let's see. Let's try our hands on the first sign up and see Samad and our last name Kanto. Our email is going to be Kanto404 and password 1234. Sign up. Okay, so it's signed up, and you see we are having this undefined there. This is an error that we are returning because we are now displaying the values from the values is now stored in an array. Is okay, not in a mere variable that we can just destructure here and pull out or display the values within this table row. So instead, I'm going to take this out. This we are not going to need this anymore. Is okay. So I'm going to take it off. Now we are going to utilize an array method called filter, or better still map, or better still for each. Is okay. So let's go with the for each. That's what I find cool. Maybe you can use a map, you can use a filter. There are a lot. It's okay. So I'm just going to say um our local storage dot get form data dot for each data evaluate this expression for me. So good. For each data contained in our local storage, so now watch. You can see we are now able to retrieve the first name, which is Samad, the last name Canton, and email, and as well the password. So now, if I should click on sign up again, you will see that Samad is appended to this data. But then let's first of all clear our table. So we want, whenever we want to append or showcase or display the value contained in our local storage, we need to make the data, the output container empty. So we can do this by just saying output.innerHTML is equal to nothing. It's okay. And then instead of we saying equal to here means whatever is assigned to the output is going to be overwritten. It's okay. So in order to achieve our goal of appending every record or every user that signs up to our output, displaying it, we need to add a plus. the goal here is to display every user that is stored in our local storage medium variable. Is that okay? So now let's see if we add another user, say Aziz Mohammed, and his email is asmon at yahoo.com, and then password 3456. Okay, so this is his password. So now you can see we have Samad Aziz. That is because I have not refreshed the browser, because we are making sure that before we display every data or any data contained in our local storage, we have already cleared or emptied this container. So I'm going to refresh, and I'm going to start off with a new user, Sumaya, and then Sumaya 9kme, and the email is going to be sumi at yahoo.com, and the password is 1234. Sign up. Still we are having, oh sorry, this should be 1 equal to this is sorry, my bad, I get that wrong. Sorry, I get that wrong. So if I should continue, let's say Majid Sabo, and the email is Sabo Majid at facebook.com, password 1234. Sign up. You can see now we are not having multiple forms of the same data. That is because I think there was an extra equal here, right, making it misbehave that way. So now we are able to append or display several users. We are able to achieve more, install more users onto our local storage, or capture more user information on our website, and then be able to display it onto the table here. But then we want that after every submission of the form, you should clear this. We do not want to always press on this refresh button here. So how do we achieve this? So inside here, I'm just going to say our document again. We use the query selector method of our form. Then we are going to say .reset. Okay. So now whenever we submit the form, it is going to automatically refresh it for us. Is okay. Set the cursor to our first name, right? So we can achieve that by saying this input value here dot focus. Is okay. This means that whenever it displays the data, reset the form or clear all input or entries, then set the focus onto our first name. So let's try this out. Falila Mohammed. The email fali@ges.com. Password is 44321. Save. You can see that it has cleared the form, and again has sent the focus to the first input element, which is our first name, so that we can continue with our entries. So now let's see. One other thing or worry here is if we should submit multiple forms of the same data, it is going to add up to our our form data, but we do not want this case. So what do? We have to perform some validation. And how do we achieve that? We have to first of all look through our form data element and match the first name and last name. If the two fails match, then the person or the user already exists. So we will show the user a message. We are going to prompt the user. So I'm going to come inside where we are going to save or write to our local storage variable. Inside here, I'm going to declare variable, say let exist is equal to if our form data dot length, and now let me just copy and paste this in there in order to save or move quicker, save time or move quicker. If our form data dot length, not dot lname, sorry, and so if this is true and that is true, go ahead and assign the outcome to exist variable here. So and this dot for each data. Now we are not going to use the for each because we just want to see if an occurrence exists. For each here loops through every data, but we want it to just let's say have a snapshot of all the data and then match the corresponding value. Is that okay? So we are going to use an array method called sum. So data dot to lowercase. Okay, if data dot fname, sorry, if data dot fname dot lowercase matches our first name here, So let me just pull this down here so that we see everything clearly. For every data, if our first name that we are submitting matches what is stored in our local storage, and then the last name, so this is for the first name. So we're going to add the last name to the search criteria or to the comparison criteria. And the last name also matches this L name, L name. So it should say the person already exists. That is by assigning a true Boolean value to our exist variable. So we can now say if not exist, go ahead and evaluate this. That means that if the user does not exist, go ahead and carry out these instructions. Else alert, we're going to say oops. We're going to say duplicate found. Then now we can see you have already signed up. So this place can be any message that you wish to show to the user when he or she is trying to submit his or her form or her data more than once. Is that okay? So now let's test this out and see if we run into any errors. We're going to come back to the code and nip it. So let's start off with my Samad, my last name being Canton, and my email being Canton404 at gmail.com. Well, let me just leave it and 1, 2, 3, 4. Sign up. Yes, you see, we have the prompt here saying, oops, duplicate found. Yeah, you have already signed up, or you are already signed up. So you have already signed up. You see, so let me go ahead and continue with the password. Duplicate found, you have already signed up. But if I should add another letter, let's say somebody and sign up, you see that one gets submitted or saved. And that brings us to the end of this video. Now if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. If not, drop some comments in the comment section below. Also, all resources used in this video will be dropped or displayed under the description in the video. Is that okay? So that you can follow up to pulling or cloning the code from my GitHub repo. Please like and subscribe once again. I'll be very thankful. Bye and see you next time.